We have something far more disturbing out of Washington, D.C. than the president losing his microphone.
Mm-hmm.
Are you aware of H.R. 1, a Democratic campaign bill?
Yep. Yeah.
Mother of God, it changes the country.
Yeah.
And, of course, the Dems are all on board, and President Biden said he'll sign it if it's passed by the Senate. He says it's urgently needed to strengthen democracy. But if you read this, well, let me get to the... I look forward to working with Congress to refine and advance this important bill, Biden said, and I look forward to signing it into law after it has passed through the legislative process so that together... Let me bend this microphone down a little bit, okay? So that together we can strengthen and restore American democracy. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said the legislation is needed to combat voter suppression efforts in states. The bill would create automatic voter registration across the country and allow felons who have served their sentences to vote. The bill would also, much to my dismay, expand early voting and enhance absentee voting by simplifying voting by mail. We have fixed everything that was ever wrong with voting. We have fixed it. What's the saying I'm looking for? Oh, we have fixed everything about voting that wasn't broken.
Yeah, if it's not broken, break it and fix the hell out of it.
Okay, now here's another airplane.
Got another one, huh?
You guys hear it? You guys hear it?
The old 1210 out of MSP.
All right, here's the most disturbing part of this. Almost as though, as Kelsey said, while we were asleep, we have awakened to this. The bill would also require more online political ad disclosures.
Oh, my God.
No, wait, you haven't heard the best part or the worst part. And force all organizations involved in political activity to disclose their large donors. Okay. A major pillar of the legislation is setting up a new public financing system for congressional and presidential elections to incentivize small dollar donations. The legislation would establish a 6-to-1 match using taxpayer money for each grassroots contribution to a candidate up to $200. For example, a $200 donation to a House candidate would garner a $1,200 match in public funds for a total contribution of $1,400. They're asking me and you to pay for the campaigns of House and presidential candidates. That's taxpayer money that would be used to fund the campaign.
When is Trump going to take over? Was it today or next week?
Today. The public match program would be funded by a new 4.75% surcharge on criminal and civil penalties and settlements that corporations pay to the U.S. government. The nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office estimated this week the new revenue stream would generate about $3.2 billion over 10 years. Republicans, as they should have, blasted the public financing provision as a way to line the campaign coffers of members of Congress. This bill isn't for people, it's for the politicians, said Representative Rodney Davis, a Republican for Illinois. This is an outrage. This isn't America. This is a banana republic. We're going to use money that doesn't belong to us to fund our own campaigns. How could this be thought to be a good idea?
Well, it's not. I mean, there wasn't a... In fact, there were not only not one Republican, but there were also 2 Democrats that voted against it, correct?
Well, that's not enough.
But and they claim it would be funded by a new tax on criminal and civil sentence. Well, what if that doesn't result in enough money? Where do you think it's coming from? You. And by the way, what obligation does Congress have to incentivize me to donate to somebody?
Right. They
None.
don't have none.
This is another example of a life led so independently from the rest of us that they can't even see the folly of this. They're to the point now where they're saying, you know, to fund our special life in America, let's get the taxpayers to pay for those of us who want to run for office.
Well, yeah, you have to agree. It's brilliant on their part.
Jesus, God in heaven.
But then Schumer gets in front of a microphone and said, "This is the People's Act," or what BS name did he call it? This is
called
for the People's Act.
For the People Act of
Yeah.
2021, known as H.R. 1. It passed Wednesday, 220 to 210. No Republicans joined with Democrats in approving the bill.
Remember, he's Beavis, right? Not Botox. Schumer.
He's Beavis.
Yeah, Beavis and Botox. That's right.
Nancy's Botox.
That's right.
A major pillar of the legislation is setting up a new public financing system for congressional and presidential elections to incentivize small dollar donations. You greedy bastards. The legislation would establish a 6-to-1 match using taxpayer money for each grassroots contribution to a candidate up to $200. Okay, so somebody wants to send $200 to Ilhan Omar, right? Mm-hmm. In the next election. That would result in a $1,200 match in public funds to Ilhan Omar. Mm-hmm. For a total contribution, because of that one so-called grassroots $200, for a total contribution of $1,400. So my money, ostensibly, would be used to help Ilhan Omar's campaign fund. I don't want to vote for Ilhan Omar, and I don't want my money used to vote for Ilhan Omar. And don't tell me, you euphorians who somehow can see the merit in this, and please explain to me how, don't tell me that it will be funded by a 4.75% surcharge on criminal and civil penalties and settlements that corporations pay to the U.S. government. I'm not sure I understand that. Could John Haidt help me?
No, I can't help you at all, because that amount of money, is that going to even be close to what's needed once all this is? Yeah,
They say it would generate. They say that surcharge would generate $3.2 billion over 10 years. That doesn't sound like enough to fund all these campaigns.
No, not for 10 years of campaigns. No, well, not 10 years.
Pyramid scheme.
But you guys, there are so many people now, myself included, that don't trust the election process in this country. This just opens the floodgates to make it that much worse.
I happen to agree with you.
The ballot harvesting thing, I know we saw the video, Joe. You didn't really get on board with it because you didn't want to trust the guy's cell phone video, which I completely respect. But that's going on all over the country already.
You know what I see when I look out the window?
John, come on. You saw that video.
I saw that video, yeah.
You know what I see when I look out the window?
Birds.
Retirement. I got till 2:15 today to make up my mind.
Where's that leave the GLers though? I mean, what are we supposed to do here?
I'm being somewhat facetious, but
Damn right you are.
But boy, there's not much time left to enjoy in America that we once knew. There really isn't. And to completely switch topics, but it's germane to the political class. I predict, I've been doing a lot of thinking about this on the Garage Logic Service Road of Life. I predict the Chauvin trial will be the last nail in the coffin of Minneapolis. I believe the city will be even more ruined and will not recover. I believe it will not recover. And I'm basing this on our now year-long observation, analysis, and study of the incompetent 13 members of the city council who are in way over their head when it comes to a trial of worldwide magnitude. Mm-hmm. They will fail miserably at keeping a tight rein on this city because they've already told us vocally for a year that they hold police itself in contempt.
I don't doubt that. I hope you're wrong.
But I hope I'm wrong too. I hope I'm wrong too.
I don't doubt it at all.
I could see
And Reavers-
military checkpoints and the guard never going home and Beirut and the whole thing.
And Reavers, for a young guy like you, you can say goodbye to the Twins ultimately and the Timberwolves. Yeah. And I don't know what will become of the Vikings. Because that city will cease to exist as a functioning city when the dust settles after the Chauvin trial. And I'm basing that, and I hope I'm wrong, I'm basing it purely on the fact that we have no evidence zero evidence that that city council has the interests of its citizenry at heart. They have the interests of the protesters at heart, but not their own citizenry.
And the unfortunate thing, we
You know what
had
they told businesses? Good luck, you're on your own. Better check with your insurance provider.
Well, how
That was
about-
the message sent to the business people of Minneapolis.
Well, how about the quote from Annette Meeks when which worthless council person was it? Fletcher?
Fletcher.
Yeah,
Oh, you
said-
better get more security if
Yeah.
you're getting your cars ripped off.
Are you kidding me? But we had our guest last week, Kevin Williamson. He nailed it. You know, I was working downtown on the weekends for the last 5 years, and I saw the decline right in front of my eyes.
And you saw it pre-pandemic and pre-George Floyd.
Pre-pandemic, pre-George Floyd, it was going downhill already, and this just accelerated it.
It's a dreadful proposition for me to say that, and I take no pleasure in saying it. But what we also have learned is that charming veneer of the city of Lakes, you know, that charming veneer really was very thin. It didn't take long for it to completely disappear.
Yeah.
It just completely disappeared. February 4th, 2018, you had a Super Bowl in downtown Minneapolis. In the spring of 2019, Virginia beat Texas Tech in the title game of the Final Four. The city was alive. Look how quickly it disappeared.
And that was such a fun weekend. to
And
be
you're
out.
never getting another Final Four, and you're never getting another Super Bowl, because this city will cease to function as a normal operating city.
Well, technically, we did just announce that we're getting the women's Final Four.
For when?
John, help me, 2022
Yeah, it's 2 years, I think.
or 23? I can't remember which one.
Want to bet?
Yeah, well,
Yeah, yeah. That ain't gonna happen.
Okay, back in the car. U-turn, back to Washington.
oh,
A major pillar of the legislation is setting up a new public financing system for congressional and presidential elections to incentivize small dollar donations. Let me stop with that one again. I said, what obligation do you, Nancy Pelosi, have to incentivize people to make political donations? What, unless I suppose their argument would be, well, we'd rather get, $50 from a guy who owns a grocery market in Wichita than we need $50 million from big tech. That's the kind of BS they're thinking, that this will involve the common man and women more in the political process, which is BS. It's just another way for them to get money. And in this case, they're using yours.
Positive Thursday.
There ain't nothing positive about it. What a travesty. What a god-awful travesty this is. Honest to Pete. Honest to Pete, whoever Pete is.
Used to be a sales guy here.
Maravich.
The Alpha News site can ferret out some interesting news, can't they?
Yeah, they can.
Like a parent with MS, banned from his kids' basketball games because he briefly took off his mask to get a better breath. Happened down in Ellendale.
I'm not mentally prepared to move on yet.
All right.
Are you gonna just? God, let's stop and have a sandwich or something.
A quick smoke.
Well, I have laid some heavy things out there, haven't I?
Yeah, you have, and I'm trying to work my way through this HR1 thing, and this is life changing for
It
the
is.
entire United States.
It's
This
not
is
American.
amazing.
It's not American.
No, this is beyond the pale.
But we feel helpless. At least I do. Because what am I going to be able to do about it? What are you guys going to be able to do about it?
Well, I have no faith in my two senators. They voted for it.
Of course. That's what I'm saying. We're on an island
How
by
did-
ourselves.
How do they not see what we see?
Well, Kenny, I think they do, and they just don't care. All they care about is remaining in that office, in that space, as Joe said, to remain on that third rail. That's the only thing they give a damn about. They don't care about us.
No, they really don't.
Well, let's make this our last show. Let's
Wow.
just retire. Let's just retire right now.
Well,
I got till 2:15 to decide.
I mean, seriously, what's the point in going forward? We're all screwed. We're living under an iron fist.
And in Minneapolis, you won't even have a structured city anymore.
Kenny, what's that website? TrainingNDT.com? So I got 2 kids in elementary school. I got a long ways to go before
I
retirement.
mean, we don't even have an avenue to push back here. Pushing back is pointless.
We have a fairly popular podcast, and we push back every day, but it's not nearly enough.
I know I'm going
And
to.
people like us, we're called racists
Yep.
and KKK and haters and Trump's army, and everybody on the conservative side of the aisle is labeled a zealot.
Well, because conservatism itself has been demonized.
Hell, even moderate Democrats are now being labeled and pushed aside.
If anything, I'm classically liberal, but that doesn't mean what it used to mean.
No.
It doesn't mean what it used to mean.
Well, at the risk of getting a ton of hate mail, is this because of the control that now exists in Washington?
What do you mean?
The control being the far left side of the political aisle?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're making hay while the sun shines,
And,
baby.
and it flipped after what happened on January 6th, correct?
They have the same problem with the Democratic Party in Washington as we do in Minneapolis. There's the Democratic Party, and there's the Mysterian Democratic Party. In Minneapolis, you've got the DFL, and then some people who believe they're DFLers but aren't. They're something else. They're heathens. And they're going to ruin their city. It's going to go away. That city will cease to function. And was it Kevin Williamson we had on, who writes for the National Review, which I've since subscribed to? You take one major company out of there, and it's 5,000 employees, and that'll be the tipping point.
Well, didn't Target announce that they?
Well, they did not announce leaving Minneapolis. They announced a delay of returning.
That's what it was. Yeah, and that was how many thousands of employees?
I think they have 7,000.
Yeah.
And U.S. Bank and Wells Fargo have thousands.
And I know that part of the reason that Target decided that, because I know someone that works at that corporate office, there was so much pushback from the employees saying, we're not coming back to downtown. We don't want to work. We don't feel safe. And that was part of their reason.
I need to figure out, for me personally, I need to understand where they're coming from. I need a reliable source on their side that I can sit down and have coffee with, and I want them to explain their point of view without trying to shove it down my throat, with no screaming, no yelling. Tell me why you think this will work.